Welcome to The Binding of Isaac. Today, we will be diving deep into this game to give you a better understanding of how it works. It's really a simple game, once you know what everything is. This is the first room. Oh, excuse me a second. Get out of the fire! Shot! Sorry about that. We don't need him yet, but he'll be back later. I promise. This is the first room. When you start a game of Isaac, you will always start in a room similar to this. There will be no enemies and no rewards. Just instructions on the floor. Before we move on to any other rooms, let's talk about the little things on the screen. Little things over there. In the top left is your health bar. If you run out of health, you'll die. Don't do that. A little lower down is your coins, bombs, and keys. We only start with one bomb, but we'll find more things later. Under the pickups is your stats. I think you have to change one of the settings to show them, but I'm not going to verify that because I'm lazy. You can figure it out. The things you can see here are speed, fire rate or tears, damage, range, shot speed, luck, devil chance, and angel chance. Oh, did you hear that part about the devil chance and angel chance? Don't worry about that right now. It's not important. It's not important. The only other thing is the map in the top right. Top right. The map shows all the rooms on the current floor. Lit up rooms are the ones you have visited, and the darker rooms are the ones you've been next to. Just kidding, that wasn't the last thing. If you look at the floor, it will tell you what the controls are. Do this to move, do this to attack, and do this to bomb, and do this to item. Now that we understand everything on the screen, let's put Isaac back and go to the next room. When you enter a room with enemies, the door will shut behind you, and you'll have to fend for yourself against the terrible creatures that have befallen you. In this case, it's just flies. Shoot at them until they're all dead. Then, the doors will open again. This is a treasure room. There's one on every floor, and there's an item inside each one. Let's walk into the pedestal to pick up the item. We got Monstro's Lung. What the hell does that do? Well, for starters, it makes Isaac look a little different. It's a little monstrous now. We'll see what it does in a second, though. But first, let's go into this room. This is the shop. Here you can spend your money to get items. We have 1 coin right now. We're poor. And if you were watching closely, you may have noticed that I got that 1 coin by destroying a piece of poop on the floor in the treasure room. If you didn't notice, then fucking pay attention. Yeah, put your phone down. I'm on your screen, okay? Watch. I'm teaching here. And while I have your attention, remember to subscribe. Thanks. Let's see what the item we picked up does. Monstro's Lung makes it so that you have to charge up your attacks, but you get a big burst of tears. Very cool. Aside from the items being sold in the shop, there's also a machine in the back that says donation. You can put your coins in there if you want. Filling it up may get you some cool rewards later. Let's leave since we're poor. Whenever you clear a room, there's a chance to get a reward. This is the main way you'll get keys, bombs, and other pickups. Sometimes money. All the rooms are very different from each other, so stay on your toes. This room has a little spiky square that moves around. Don't touch the spiky square. It hurts. This room dropped a card. Death. This is a consumable item that you can use anytime, but only once. There's one last thing I want to show you before we enter the final room of the floor, otherwise known as the boss room. If you blow up certain walls, you can find, nothing. You can find nothing. Let's go to the boss room. The boss room has a big enemy that you have to fight. Bosses have more health than most enemies, but don't do more damage than them. If you beat the boss, you can get another item. Oh, this one also dropped a soul heart. Soul hearts are extra hearts that you can pick up even if your health is full. They also have another use that I'll talk about later. We also got Booster Pack. Booster Pack just drops a bunch of cards. I can only carry 1 card at a time, so I'm gonna use as many of them as I can right now. Justice drops a bunch of pickups. What does Joker do?
What? Let's see here. Durum gia. Ninjerni gia. Oepsminch vil duren. Nel nali ma here says opirchi or il smigglers. Il smigglers and op il apsir is opji. Realmer, Opamo Ipsilkir, Sejit Sibilisili, Elfibs, This is just gibberish. This fucking
English demon translators are just like fake news. I think it's just Swedish. I'm not gonna lie. Well, that was weird, but it's probably fine. Let's grab the other Joker card to bring it to the next floor. If we go down the hatch over there, we can proceed to the next floor. Every floor is laid out differently. This floor is pretty similar to the first floor, but there are a couple things that change. In this room, you might notice that this door is closed, even though we defeated all the enemies. The shop and treasure room become locked after the first floor. You'll need a key to open either of them. This floor is also a bit larger than the last one. There's also some new room types on this floor. They won't always show up, but we got a couple this time around. This silly little room over here is the library. It has books. I know. Crazy. Who the hell wants to read books in a video game? Most books are active items, kind of like the thing we got from the treasure room. Lucky for you, this means you don't have to read them. Active items have to be activated to use, and they need to be recharged afterwards. To recharge active items, you can clear rooms or pick up batteries. Clearing a room will give you 1 bar of charge on the active item. Unless it's a bigger room, then it will give you 2 bars. You can only have 1 active item at a time. Picking up another active item will replace the one you currently have and place it back down on the ground. I'm picking up a lot of actives here, and I'm not going to explain what they all do, because that would take a long time. If you're really curious, you can Google it, like everyone else that plays this game. Suffer, see if I care. There's another room that's locked over here, but we'd need 2 keys to open it. I don't have any keys, so we're not going to go in there. Let's just fight the boss. Goodness gracious, that boss dropped an Eternal Heart. Eternal Hearts will give you a red heart container if you make it to the next floor with it. If you take red heart damage while carrying the Eternal Heart, it will disappear, so don't do that. I'm going to leave it there while we finish the floor. This devil deal has a dead cat. Dead cat gives you 9 lives, which is kind of neat, so we should take that. There's one last thing I want to show you before we leave this floor. If you blow up certain walls, you can find... secret rooms! Secret rooms are rooms that don't show up on your map and only spawn in certain places. There are secret rooms and super secret rooms as well. They can sometimes have items in them, or money, or they could also have nothing. This one had a chest in it, and the chest had a trinket. Trinkets are items that you can only carry 1 of that have cool effects. We got a walnut. Again, you can Google what that does. I'm not explaining all of these. We can also go find the super secret room. Our secret room is kind of useless, but we can use a bomb to blow up this machine and get some money. Next floor. On the next floor, I seem to have run out of script. It shouldn't have been too hard to write a script. I mean, like, this game is pretty simple, right? We'll just wing it from here. I mean, there's not really much more to go over. We've gone over all the basics. You got your money, you got your stats, you got your pickups, and you got your items. Like, that's all you gotta do. You fight the bosses, and eventually you run out of bosses. So we're gonna clear this floor, and we're gonna clear this floor as well. Clearing this boss seems to have unlocked Little Chubby. That means if we do more runs from now, Little Chubby can appear as an item. Here's something new. This is a cursed room. Cursed rooms are cool because they sometimes have great rewards in them. However, you have to take damage to enter them. There's spikes all along the door. You gotta like walk into the spikes. It's gonna hurt you, okay? There's spikes. But if you take that damage, you have a chance to get a nice reward in return. And then is that it? That doesn't seem like there's anything else. We're gonna clear the rest of the floors, and then there's one more floor. There's only depths 2 left. Depths 2 is pretty similar to most of the other floors. It's kind of dark and dank because you're deep. The one key difference of Depths 2 is that the final fight is Mom. That's right, the final boss of Isaac, the last boss, is your mom. Or more precisely, it's her leg, I guess. You're gonna fight your mom's leg. Well, I guess her arms and her eyes appear too. The mom fight is a little trickier than the other bosses. You have to be very careful to dodge her limbs and her foot falling from the sky, and her eyeballs coming out of the door, and she'll spawn other enemies along with her. But if you are skilled and you have gotten powerful enough at this point, you will be able to beat Mom. And then that's it. That's the end of Isaac. It's a pretty simple game. I mean, it's just that simple, right? Oh God. How much time is left in the video? I'm sure everything I've described up until now has seemed pretty straightforward and pretty simple, right? Let me assure you, it is not that simple. This game will tear you down from the top to the middle, from the middle all over the place. What we've talked about so far is simply the beginning. It gets much more complicated. It is so hot in here. Oh my, green screen. Oh god, ignore that. There's no green screen. There's no green screen. It gets complex. Mom is the first boss of this game. After it takes a trinket that Mega Satan drop into the floor, or a boss. Through the power of the kind of slice that item can be whatever we want it to be. Special game mode where most early in the run, you might just tarot cards. You defeat Mom, and then the rest of the game becomes available to you. Hi. Hi, Mina. Yeah. What's up? What's up, kid? There's a cat. Speaking of cat, did you know you can collect the pieces of Isaac's dead cat? If you get 3 pieces of Guppy, you can become Guppy. That's a transformation. We'll talk about that. After Mom, you fight It Lives. After It Lives, you can fight Satan. You can fight Isaac. Oh, yeah, that's a thing. You can fight Isaac. Is it Isaac from the Bible, or is it Isaac? Who knows? There's Blue Baby, there's Mega Satan, there's the Lamb, there's Boss Rush, there's Hush. Oh, there's Mother, not Mom, Mother. Totally different. We have to talk about secret rooms. We have to talk about dice. We have to talk about other characters. We have to talk about the efficiency and how to be efficient so that you can get the things you need. We need to talk about, I'm trying to educate here. After defeating Mom, you'll be able to jump in the chest, and it seems like the end. It plays an ending, but there are 18 endings to this game. How many endings are in Isaac? I don't even know. There's 22 endings. But the endings are not really why you play Isaac. You don't really care about the plot of the game. The lore is kind of cool and it's sad, but what you really care about is the super cool epic things you can unlock that make your runs super strong and super fun, so much to the point where you can walk in a room and instantly clear it. You can walk up to Mega Satan, the thing that is called Mega Satan, and one-shot it. After defeating Mom, you can jump in the chest. It will play an ending, but then you will have to start a new run. Every time you defeat the final boss of a run, you make a little progress towards something. After you fight Mom, you fight It Lives. Or is it Mom's Heart? It's Mom's Heart. It Lives is after Mom's Heart, but it is Mom's Heart. Mom's Heart is going to be the final boss for you for a little bit. After you defeat Mom's Heart about 11 times, then you can fight It Lives, and then you can make more progress. You will eventually have to unlock the Polaroid and the Negative, and the Polaroid and the Negative will allow you to fight the boss in either the Cathedral or the Dark Room. No! It's Shoal, not the Dark Room. And he's about to say you go to the chests from both of them, except you go to the Dark Room or the chest, depending on if you were in Shoal or the Cathedral. You suck. And then go to the chest. You stupid piece of... If you have the Polaroid or the Negative. The Polaroid and the Negative will become rewards for defeating Mom and will allow you to go to the chest. The chest is an area that will give you a bunch of items so that you can become stronger to fight either Blue Baby, the Lamb, or Mega Satan. Blue Baby and the Lamb are not inherently that difficult. However, Mega Satan is a bit like a boss rush where you have to fight a bunch of horsemen, you have to fight some angels, and you have to then fight Mega Satan in both of his phases. To even open the door to get into Mega Satan, you must first, in that run, have collected 2 key pieces, or had Dad's key or the sharp key, I think. I don't know if the sharp key works. I think Mr. Me can open the door, though. There's a lot of stipulations and things that can open the door. However, the primary way of doing it is collecting 2 key pieces. How do you collect 2 key pieces? Well, we talked about devil deals already. However, we didn't talk about angel rooms. Now, on the 2nd floor of each run, if you have a chance to open a devil room and you are lucky, you will open a devil room. How do you have devil chance? Well, at the start of each floor, you have a set chance to open a devil deal after fighting a boss. If you take damage to your red hearts, that chance will drop. If you blow up a keeper or a beggar, that chance will rise. There are other items that can also make that chance rise. But when you are offered a devil deal, If you were lucky enough to get one, you have an option. If you enter the devil room, your chance of seeing an angel room on the next floor will drop. If you take a devil deal, sacrificing your health to get an item, you will have no way of getting an angel room. That's actually not true. But again, that's a thing that we'll have to go over later. I don't know if we'll go over that. There's a lot of things to go over. There's a lot of things I'm probably gonna have to skip, but I'll try to talk about it. If you have skipped the devil deal, you haven't gone in or anything, and even if you did go in, on the next floor, you will have a chance to open an angel room instead of a devil deal after the boss. In the angel room, there is a free item for you. You can just take it, no strings attached, unlike the devil deal where you would have to spend your health. After taking the item in the angel room, you can do one of two things. You can leave, or you can put a bomb on the angel statue that's also in the room. If you have unlocked the chest, meaning you have the negative or the Polaroid, you'll be able to blow up the angel statue, and what will happen is an angel will spawn. If you defeat the angel, it will drop a key piece. Doing this twice in 2 different angel rooms will give you a full key. Now, when you get to the chest, that key will open the door to Mega Satan. That's how you fight him. There's other ways to get the key pieces as well. You can do a sacrifice room, which means you have to take damage a couple times. More like a lot. So if you have a good way of getting health back, you can do that. Other cool thing about the sacrifice room, if you do it enough, not only will you fight 2 angels and be able to get 2 key pieces, but it has a chance later, after taking a lot of damage, to just teleport you to the dark room. The dark room is... I'm looking this up because I don't want to say this wrong. I think it's the dark room. Oh, that's why I'm confused. So the dark room, kind of like the chest, is a room where you can get... It is a floor where you can get a bunch of chests and get a bunch of items. It's not the chest, even though they're very similar. I misspoke earlier. If you go to the dark room via the sacrifice room, after getting the 2 key pieces from the angels, then you can fight Mega Satan before you're even supposed to technically be able to do that. That's a cool thing you can do. Otherwise, teleporting straight to the dark room from the sacrifice room really doesn't serve much of a purpose. So if there's like an item you want to unlock early, that's how you can do it. Oh, unlocking items. How do you unlock items? There's a lot of different ways to unlock items. Some items want you to perform certain tasks. Some items want you to defeat certain bosses as certain characters. We'll get into that. There's a lot of characters. And some items, I don't know how they're unlocked. It just happens. Like there's an item called Hemolacria, and to unlock it, you have to pick up Blood Clot 10 times. Not in the same run, just ever. So one day, I just accidentally unlocked it. That's just how it works. Don't ask me to explain why. I guess it makes sense. They're both blood related when you think about it. One does the big splash of blood and one just blood clot. That's basically all the ways you can unlock items. However, to unlock those items, a lot of the times you have to first unlock a character. There are 18 characters in this game. Fact checking. There are 17 characters available in this game. And there is a tainted version of all of those characters. So there is actually 34 characters in this game that you can play as. To unlock everything, you need to defeat every boss as each character, which means you would have to, at a minimum, fight each boss 34 times. And that has to be on hard mode. Most things you can unlock by defeating bosses in normal mode. However, doing it in hard mode is more efficient and will unlock you things faster because eventually you're going to have to do them all in hard mode anyway, if you want to 100% the game. 100%ing the game is not an easy task. There's a different way to unlock each character, but to unlock any of the tainted characters, they are all unlocked in the same way. Play as any character, and then go fight the beast. Fighting the beast is not what unlocks the tainted character. There's a thing you do right before you fight the beast that unlocks the tainted character. If I want to unlock Tainted Isaac, I'm going to play as Isaac. And then I'm going to take a trinket that I find and drop it in a treasure room or a boss room. We're just going to leave it there. And then, after defeating Mom and picking up either the Polaroid or the negative, you are going to use the Fool card that you picked up on that same floor because there is a marked skull on each floor where you fight Mom that will allow you to go back to the first room of that floor. Usually after you fight Mom, the only way you can go is to the next floor. However, with the Fool card, you can go back to the first room. And in that first room, there will be a strange door, if you have unlocked it. Unlocking the strange door. A strange door is a door that is unlocked by defeating Mother for the first time. Not Mom, Mother. Very different. One is a leg and some eyes that pop out of doors, and one is an eldritch horror. If you use the Fool card after collecting the Polaroid or the negative, you can go back to that first room, see the strange door, and use your Polaroid or negative to open that door. Opening this door will take you to a new floor called
Mausoleum.
Does not have a boss. Instead of a boss, what you will find in the boss room is an item called the Strange Note. Or what is it? Dad's Note? Is it Dad's Note? Fuck. It's called Dad's Note. When you pick up Dad's Note, you will begin a thing called the Ascent, and that will take you back up through all the floors in like a shortened variant of all those floors. And remember how we dropped a trinket in the treasure room or a boss room somewhere? On that corresponding floor, if you go back to the treasure room or boss room that you dropped the trinket in, you'll be able to pick up a chipped red key. The chipped red key you will need to carry with you back until you get to home. Home is the final floor of the Ascent. It is above basement 1, which is where you usually start the run. In home, if you have the chipped red key, you can walk up to a certain wall and you can use the chipped red key to create a special door, which will have the tainted character corresponding to the character you have gone to that floor with in it, and you can unlock them then. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but it's kind of complicated. How would you just know that? How would you know that? You would have to look it up. Like, there's no way you just know that. A chipped red key is usually a thing that you use to open a special red room, which is a special room you can open also with like a red key, which is an active item that you can use repeatedly. The chipped red key is a trinket that you can only use once, so you're gonna have to save it until you get to home. Doing this will unlock a tainted character though. After doing so, by the way, do that before you sleep in Mom's bed, which is what we're about to do. After that, you can sleep in Mom's bed and then you can go fight Dogma. You're gonna fight Dogma, and then you're gonna fight a bunch of horsemen, and then you're going to fight not Shadow Mom. It's the Beast. You're gonna fight the Beast. Don't have to fight the Beast to unlock the tainted character, but it is good to do it so that you don't have to do that all again. Remember how I said you have to fight Mother before you can fight the Beast? Well, let's talk about how you fight Mother. We're working backwards here. But before we talk about Mother, we must talk about Hush. But before we talk about Hush, we must talk about Mom's heart. Now, we are back at the beginning. After you defeat Mom for the first time, you will be able to fight Mom's heart. Mom's heart is a boss that appears in the womb. That's right, you enter the womb after you fight Mom. It's kind of weird, but it's not that weird. Like, yeah, you stop making a big deal about it. It's not that weird. Defeating Mom's heart 10 times will unlock Hush. Every time you defeat it, you'll probably unlock something. But after you defeat it 11 times, Mom's heart will be replaced with It Lives, which is a different boss, but essentially the same boss. It will start to look like a small fetus instead of a heart. But after defeating Mom's heart 10 times and unlocking Hush, now we have to do speed runs. Technically, you don't have to do a speed run. However, you are going to have to clear up to Mom's heart within 30 minutes of starting your run. Usually this will take longer because Isaac is a game that rewards you for being very methodical and thorough. If you go in all your secret rooms, you can usually find a bunch of extra items. If you spend time looking for super secret rooms, you can also find a bunch of extra goodies. You can get extra money so you can go to the shop more, da-da-da-da-da. But if you are strong enough, you can go fast enough to make it to Mom's heart in under 30 minutes and beat Mom's heart. Sorry, it'll be It Lives at this point. And beat It Lives before the 30-minute mark. If you do this, you will open a special door that will take you to the Hush fight. Hush is a boss that is not easy, and because you have spent less time looking for items and are probably less strong than you would normally be otherwise, it is even harder. If you can defeat Hush 3 times, however, then you can unlock Mother. Or rather, it doesn't actually unlock Mother, it unlocks a secret exit. A secret exit is an achievement you get from fighting Hush 3 times that will start spawning doors after the boss fight. Not devil deals, not angel deals, but different doors. When these doors start spawning, you'll be presented with a choice. You can either go down the normal way you would go down, or you can go through these special doors. Usually they will cost a pickup in order to enter them, such as the door that goes to Downpour, which will cost you a key. However, if you go through this door, you will be presented with a new floor. Downpour is a cool new floor with cool new enemies that absolutely suck, and I hate them, and I don't like going this way. But on one of the Downpour floors, there will be a white flame and a mirror. Touching the white flame will turn you into the Lost, which is another character that I have not talked about yet. However, it is a challenge character and makes it so that you die in 2 hits. However, the Lost has Holy Mantle, which means every room it walks into, it gets its Holy Mantle back. If you take damage without Holy Mantle, you will die. If you become the Lost and walk into the mirror, you'll enter the mirror world. It is the same as the normal floor, but flipped. In the mirror world, what you're going to want to do is go to the treasure room on the floor, and in the treasure room will be Mom's knife piece. This is not to be confused with Mom's knife, or the knife you get from the Mom transformation. It is Mom's knife piece. There are 2 pieces, kind of like the key. While you're the Lost in the mirror world, you can also go fight the boss a 2nd time, and if you're good enough, live and get a 2nd item, which is kind of cool. But after getting Mom's knife piece, you're going to want to go back through the mirror, return to the real world, and then you will be back to your normal self, right? and then you can go to the next floor. The next floor, however, is not down the hatch. That is not the way we need to go. We need to go to the mines. Another bastardized floor that I absolutely hate. The mines have a bunch of cool new enemies that I hate. Again, kind of like Downpour. But on one of the floors, there will be a special room with a mine track. Going through that floor with the mine track and pushing all the yellow buttons you find, there will be about 3 of them, will complete the mine track, and you will be able to take the mine cart into this special room. There's nothing in this room yet. However, if you get to the end of this special area, there will be the second knife piece. After the second knife piece, well, you know what? I'll let you do that part yourself. It's fun. Congratulations, you have both of Mom's knife pieces. This makes Mom's knife. Not to be confused with Mom's knife, the item, or the knife you get from Mom's transformation, like I said earlier. If you then, after going through the mines, go through another special door after the boss of the mines, this door costs 2 of your hearts to get through. You can then go to Mausoleum. Mausoleum? One of those two. I think it's Mausoleum or Mausoleum.
Johanna
is a place for absolute rat bastards. The enemies suck, they will probably hit you, but if you make it through the floor, you can fight a special version of Mom. This special version of Mom is basically Mom, but like slightly different. I think she's also a different color. After defeating Mom, don't go to the next floor. There's a special fleshy door. It has a little X on it. If you turn towards it and shoot Mom's knife that you have collected the 2 pieces of, not to be confused with Mom's knife, the item, or the knife you get from being the Mom transformation. The knife will enter inside the door. You will lose Mom's knife, but it will open the special door that leads you to Corpse. Corpse is another floor, or actually, wait, hold on, I've misspoke. God fucking damn it. Nope, I'm wrong. Opening the door will take you into another boss fight with Mom's Heart. It is a more difficult version of Mom's Heart. After you defeat Mom's Heart, you can go back into the room where you fought Mom, and instead of a trapdoor taking you to what would usually be Womb 2, you will now end up in Corpse. Corpse is the final floor of this run. Hi, Mina. Yep. Get him, kid. She wants attention. After you clear the Corpse floor, instead of a boss being in the boss room, there will be a giant gaping hole in the floor, and if you drop down the giant gaping hole, you will start the fight with Mother. Mother is an eldritch horror. She's kind of obnoxious, but if you defeat her, you will unlock a strange door, which is what I was talking about earlier that takes you to home through the ascent so that you can unlock the tainted characters. You have to do all of this so that you can unlock half of the characters. Speaking of weird unlocks for characters, what about the Forgotten? Oh, I didn't forget. I know. I'm funny. Unlocking the Forgotten sucks. Why does it suck? Because you have to go through a fucking gauntlet just to get to him. The first thing you have to do when you are unlocking the Forgotten is to defeat the boss of floor 1 in under a minute. That's not easy. You can speed through the floors pretty easily, sometimes, if you were to get like a cool item from the treasure room. However, I think the most consistent way of doing it is playing Azazel, who starts with Brimstone, which is the big red laser, not to be confused with lasers that you get from technology, different kind of laser. But he gets the big Brimstone laser, and that does a lot of damage. So I like to play him, and then go straight to the boss room. Defeating the boss in under a minute will make a little jingle play in the boss room, and you will see the outline of a shovel across the floor. If you then return to the first room of the first floor and place a bomb anywhere, a piece of a shovel will drop out of the sky. This is Mom's shovel piece. Be careful when you pick it up. They're gonna start stomping on you. Who's they? You know how when you fight Mom, there's big legs that stomp on you? Those will start stomping on you. Periodically. But if you're careful, you can avoid them. As long as you hold this piece of the shovel, Mom will try to stomp on you and kill you. It is somewhat useful because you can crush rocks with them. However, it is mostly annoying and mostly makes you die. The second half of this is to speedrun the rest of the run up to Mom. If you defeat Mom in under 20 minutes, you will open the door to Boss Rush. This is kind of like Hush, where after beating the boss, a new door will appear in the room and allow you to go inside. If you enter in this room, there will be 4 items and you can pick one, but after you pick one, the Boss Rush will begin. Boss Rush is what it sounds like. A lot of bosses will spawn, a lot of bosses, and you will have to defeat all of them. If you are able to defeat Boss Rush while holding the broken shovel, your reward will be the second half of the broken shovel, which will create a full shovel. The shovel's cool because it allows you to open up doors that would go into crawl spaces. Crawl spaces are cool little areas that sometimes contain another item for you, so use it for that as much as possible. However, you're going to need to go to the dark room. On the dark room floor, there is a special room that will always spawn in the dark room, and if you use Mom's shovel on the little spot that is very clearly there in this room, you will unlock the Forgotten. You're gonna dig up some bones. There's some bones. That's how you unlock the Forgotten. How would you know that without a wiki? How would you know? That's how you unlock the Forgotten. There's some other weird ones, like the Keeper. In every shop, there is a Keeper. They usually sit there and do nothing. If you blow them up, they'll drop you money, but the Keeper is also a character you can play. How do you unlock the Keeper? Oh, well, it's simple. You just have to fill up the donation machine in greed mode. This is not the same donation machine in the normal mode. You have to play greed mode enough to put 999 coins into a donation machine and then put one more coin in it to blow it up so that you can unlock the Keeper. But what's greed mode? Greed mode is a special game mode where most of your items will be purchased with money. There will be waves of enemies that appear after you push this special button in the main room. Every wave that you defeat will give you more coins so that you can buy more items. On every floor in greed mode, the floor is laid out basically the same way, except for the secret room, which can be next to any of the rooms. There will always be a curse room on the left, the shop on the top, the treasure room on the top right, and below that, a normal room, which will always have an item. The key to this challenge is managing your money properly and also being good. Get good. You have to be able to get strong enough with the money you're given, but also carry enough money to the final floor so that after you defeat Ultra Greed, who is a big boss that is very greedy and throws money at you, exploding money, you can put money in the greed donation machine. Filling up the greed donation machine will give you special rewards like lucky pennies or other special shopkeepers that will have nickel eyes and have a chance of dropping a nickel when you blow them up, and also make it so that the Lost holds the Holy Mantle, which, as we talked about earlier, makes it so that every room, the Lost will regenerate a mantle, which makes it so it can get hit once, and exactly once, in that room. But the thing we care about the most is after 999 coins, and then one more coin to blow up the greed donation machine, you will unlock the Keeper. There are some interesting ways of expediting this process. The cool thing about this game is that there's a combination of items for everything, basically. So if I want to get a lot of money, there's a way. For instance, if you were to find the consumable card, the 2 of Diamonds, which doubles your coins when you use it, and also get the active item Blink card, which you have to unlock first, and then also find the shop in greed mode that has a battery, you can infinitely generate cash. The Blink card makes it so that you can use your consumable card without using up the card. So you could use the Blink card to double your money, buy a battery, double your money, buy a battery, double your money, buy a battery, and basically have infinite money. It is a very easy way to break greed mode. Another way you could do it is if you get the head of the Keeper, you can farm money. The head of the Keeper is an item you can get by blowing up a Keeper, and it has a small chance of dropping this item. The head of the Keeper makes it so that when you hit enemies, there's a chance they drop a coin. Some bosses, like the Duke of Flies, will summon enemies to fight you in its place. If you only hit those enemies while you have the head of the Keeper, you can generate an infinite amount of money. Another cool thing I've done in the past is if you have the trinket Equality, Equality makes it so that when you have an even number of coins, bombs, and keys, all pickups that spawn will be doubled if they can be. So like coins, keys, and bombs can all be doubled so that when you pick them up, you'll get 2 of them instead. If you combine this with the pickup Yera, I don't know. If you farm all the enemies on the floor while you have Equality, you will get double the money. Jera is an item that doubles all the pickups in a room. So you can get double the money and then double those pickups. That will generate you a lot of money. It is not infinite, however, it is a lot of money. The point being, there's a lot of ways to synergize your items to break the game. And that gets into another thing. Something I consider the most fun part of this game. Gambling, baby. In a world where the game can be anything you want it to be, I introduce to you the dice items. There are a lot of different kinds of dice in Isaac. The D7 is a dice item that can restart a room and get you another drop from it. The D8 is a die that will reroll all of Isaac's stats. The D10 is a die that will reroll all the monsters in the room into different monsters. There's the D Infinity, the D20, the D12, the D4, the D1. But the best of them all, well, second best of them all, is the D6. If you have unlocked it for Isaac, he will start with the D6 every single run. And what the D6 does is, if there is an item pedestal in the room, it will turn it into a different item of the same item pool. Now, item pools are whatever item can spawn depending on what room you're in. So like the treasure room has its own item pool, the boss room has its own item pool, and those item pools will always spawn items from those item pools if you use the D6. If you use it in the secret room has its own item pool. If you use it in the devil room, you will always get a different devil item. If you use it in the angel room, you will always get an angel room item, but it will become a different one when you use it. Whatever item pedestal is on the floor will turn into something else of the same item pool. Sorry, I'm playing Cookie Clicker on the side. I gotta like, ooh, communal brain sweep. It's kind of expensive, but sure. Oh, I can buy a fractal in it? Yeah, okay. The unfortunate reality of the Binding of Isaac is that not all items are created equally. Some items suck donkey, and some items are really, really cool. Every item has a quality to it. That quality basically tells you how good an item is. Brimstone, the big fat laser beam, is a quality 4 item. Mom's knife is a quality 4 item. Heck X is a quality 4 item that will turn your tears into big ring lasers. Not to be confused with brimstone, it's a laser. Sometimes you walk into the treasure room, and the item waiting for you on the pedestal, the one you've waited so long for because you're desperate for some kind of damage item. Sometimes that item is E. coli, which is an item that when an enemy touches you, turns them into poop, which means it's an item that requires you to take damage for it to do anything. It's very bad. But through the power of the D6, that item can be whatever we want it to be. Well, not really. It can be something else. If you use the D6, the E. coli has a chance to become Cricket's Head. It has a chance to become Parasite. It has a chance to become Mutant Spider, the item that turns 1 tier into 4 tiers. Or rather, it makes you shoot 4 tiers instead of 1 tier. The point is, it can become a better item. Now, what happens if you roll, and it's still something else that you don't want? Well, remember how I was talking about how there's synergies that allow you to do basically anything you want. For example, if you have Old Bandage and the item Habit is an item that when you take damage, charges your active item. And Old Bandage is an item that has a chance of giving you hearts when you take damage. So long as you have health, there is a chance, in this case, that you can get charges back, which means you can potentially charge the dice infinitely so that you can roll the treasure room as many times as you want so that you can turn it into whatever you want. Now, this is limited because it won't really go infinite all the time, but it is possible. And the idea is that when you're gambling with items, they can always be better, but if you can't roll them infinitely, sometimes you gotta take what you get. Using the power of the dice, your run can go from garbage to really, really good really fast. And now, let me introduce you to the spin down dice. The only die better than the D6, I would say. Every item has an item ID, and when you use the spin down dice, that item that you are spinning down, much like the D6, this works on any item pedestal in the room, that item ID will become an item ID 1 less than the one it was previously. So the spin down dice is something that you can use to get a specific item. Now, how do you know what item is going to become what? Well, you can look it up. You can do a lot of searching and Googling. However, what I recommend is getting this mod called External Item Descriptions. External Item Descriptions is a mod that will tell you what you're looking at, basically. It'll tell you what every item does if it's in the room, and it'll tell you what every pickup is if you are able to see what it is. It's very helpful. However, don't install mods before you defeat Mom, because you will not be able to make progress if you do so. Or maybe it's Mom's heart. Play a bit before you install mods, basically. If you're not unlocking achievements, you've installed the mods too early. Using the power of the spin down dice and the mod External Item Descriptions, you can look at an item and see exactly what it'll turn into if you use the spin down dice. And if you are able to spin down enough, you can turn basically any item into anything you want. It's a fantastic item, but what if we got a little crazier with it? What if we got a little devious? What if you had the option to spin down 1 out of 5 items on one item pedestal? Well, then you want Glitched Crown. Glitched Crown is an item that will make it so that item pedestals flash between 5 separate items. And you can pick any of those items as long as you run into the pedestal at the right time. It's a little tricky to do it, but pausing the game will make it a lot easier, trust me. Don't feel bad about it. It's not a skill issue. It's just making sure you get the right item. If you have Glitched Crown and the spin down dice, you will be able to look at all 5 of these items and see what you want to spin down into. And maybe you spin down towards something, and then it turns into a different item that is flashing between 5 different items than previously, and you see one there that you like. Glitched Crown is the opener of doors, the introducer of opportunity. Let's talk about this situation. Early in the run, you picked up Tarot Cloth. Tarot Cloth is an item that enhances all the tarot cards you find. And then on one floor, you find the Judgment card. Now that you have Tarot Cloth and Judgment, you can spawn 2 beggars. Beggars that, when you give them enough money, will spawn an item. You find your secret room. Inside the secret room is Lost Contact. Lost Contact is good, but it could be better. You use Judgment. Judgment spawns 2 beggars. You pay them both out. They both drop items. You now have 3 items in this one room. Oh, but what's that? You find the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune will spawn 2 slot machines or 2 fortune-telling machines. These, which if you give them enough money, hopefully you have enough money, there is a 2% chance when you give them coins that they will blow up and an item will spawn. Possibly. There's another chance that the item will spawn after you blow up the machine. Well, let's say hypothetically, both of those machines spawn an item. You now have 5 items in your secret room. The secret room item pool is very, very good. It contains a lot of very cool things. You're playing Isaac, so you started with the D6. You take all 5 of your items and you roll them once. Oh, what is that? The spin down dice. You take the spin down dice. Now, all these opportunities are being unlocked. Any item can become anything. You start spinning down. You have a way to get so many charges so easily. You roll down these items. One of them becomes Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom is an item that makes it so that your stats cannot be lowered by anything. They will always be the highest they have been. Oh, but what's that? On the side, you found Mega Mush. Mega Mush is an item that will make Isaac huge, and it will buff your attack damage immensely. But because you have Rock Bottom, they will not return to normal. You have tons of attack now. You put the Mega Mush back down because you really prefer the spin down dice. You spin it again. Oh, it's become an R key. An R key is interesting because the R key can restart your whole run. However, you will keep all of your items. You take the R key, you go and you defeat Blue Baby, or perhaps the lamb. I don't know yet. And then you use the R key, which you have kept with your spin down dice because you have School Bag, the item that lets you have 2 active items. Using the R key, you restart the whole run. You crush all of the early floors. You go to Boss Rush, you crush it. You go to Hush, you crush it. You made it to both of those areas so fast because you're so immensely powerful. You can defeat every boss in one run, which would normally be quite literally impossible. Now, that being said, to do this, you'd have to restart the run multiple times, but you can do it. That is the power of the dice. Gambling at its finest. God, does it feel good. I'm not a gambling addict. I promise I'm not a gambling addict. I swear. But why do you need to kill every boss? Well, on the character select screen, there's a little note that hangs next to the character, and it has some marks on it, or it doesn't. But if you have played a character and you've defeated bosses with them, they'll have marks on them. The marks tell you what bosses you have completed. In order to unlock every item in this game, and to effectively 100% this game, which isn't called 100%ing, you need to defeat every boss with every character. So you basically need to fill out that note with every character on hard mode. The normal marks mean you have completed something on normal mode. If it is a bloodied mark, that means you have completed it on hard mode. I mentioned it's not called 100%ing, because it used to be called 100%ing, but then they added more things. This game has a few DLC, and every time they added DLC to this game, it becomes harder and harder to unlock everything that the Binding of Isaac has to offer. So what is it called if not 100%? Well, there was a time when collecting everything in the game meant you had 1,000,000%ed Isaac. There was so much that they called it 1,000,000%. And then they added Repentance. Repentance added so much more that they changed what it was called to have 100%ed the game. Instead of 1,000,000%ing the game, you now have to achieve Dead God. Dead God is an achievement that you get by collecting every other achievement and unlocking every item in the game. And this isn't necessary, but if on all 3 save files you achieve Dead God, you get a special little graphic that shows you have achieved Dead God on all 3 save files. And that is something I will never do because that sounds psychotic. It is estimated that to become a Dead God in the Binding of Isaac, you have to spend about 500 hours playing the game. And so, to achieve Dead God on all 3 save files, just to get the cool little image that spans across all 3 save files, you'd have to be psychotic. So, this is the part where I wish I had put in 1,500 hours so that I could show you that I spent 1,500 hours doing it because I am psychotic, but I haven't done that because, unfortunately, I'm not that psychotic. And that is how to Isaac.
Are you sure this is how you want this story to end, Isaac? You're the one writing it. It doesn't have to end this way. Here, how about we tell it a different way? Maybe a happy ending?
Okay, Daddy.
Good. Are you getting sleepy yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so Isaac and his parents lived in a small house on the top of a hill.
Toys stripped down and bare. I'm just a boy looking for love.